Hi everybody, Charis here, and I have been trying to record this video for a couple days now. It has never been the right time until right now. I'm still in beautiful Sedona. I didn't get a shot of the mountains for you just because it's not how it worked out, but it doesn't really matter because what I want to talk to you about is the solar pole shift going on. And this is happening now. They say it's going to happen in the next few months, but no, it's happening now. You have to remember that this is a 11-year span, 11-year cycle, and so every 11 years or so, the sun's poles shift. So don't be afraid of any type of cataclysm or crazy earth stuff because it happens all the time. However, just like a lot of things that happen all the time, you can either choose to surf the wave or you can just kind of let it lift you and then lower you and not take advantage of that awesome thing you could have just experienced. What I would recommend that you do is spend extra time on your manifestations and on your thoughts right now, because I'm going to explain to you how this happens and how it was explained to me that all of these tests and all of these challenges that people are experiencing right now are something that is happening. It's already happening. People think that they're gearing up for it. You might feel like there's a big test coming, but no, it's already here. It's happening right now. Every time you go through one of those emotional breaks, every time you go through one of those feelings of being gritting and moving through rocks like you're trying to wade through gravel or through mud or through quicksand, that is the test. It's happening right now. It's happening right now as you're watching this video. And so one of the things I'm trying to do is push out this assistance energy for you. So this is how it works when the pole shift happens on the sun. So you may not realize it, but we are actually, depending on how you define it, inside of our sun, because our sun's field goes out beyond the edges of our solar system. And it never stops, and there's never any break to it. So although we're not inside of the sun the way that we look at the sun's electromagnetic and physical through the photons, the field is bigger, and all of the planets in the solar system are actually inside the sun. And as the sun does its thing, it puts out a wave of energy a lot, and you can confirm all this on the NASA site, because I got my downloads by watching scientific videos on how it works physically and electromagnetically, and then I'm getting how we can access it through our spiritual intention and stuff. So as the sun lives, breathes, does whatever it does, it sends out a flat field of energy, a lot like a girl wearing a skirt and twirling in a circle, and the skirt goes out around her and kind of waves, right? So we are sitting on these waves, and it's a flat wave, but it creates a bigger field to protect us from various things coming in through the solar system. I forget what they're called, but they're these supercharged photons, and they can be harmful when they hit stuff, but the field that the sun puts out protects us from those. So it's this rippley thing that's going out at all times, all the time, except when the poles shift. When the poles shift, the field of the sun goes in, and the poles shift, and it expands again. So we're always inside this big field, except, I guess, about 11 years or so, that every so often, about every 11 years or so. And then the field comes in, shifts, goes back out. And so why can we use this for manifestation? It's because when it comes in and shifts and goes back out, that's a huge time that you can use your conscious processes to affect what's happening, because light makes up everything, and our sun's light is what makes up a lot of our reality. We'd be walking around in the dark not able to visually see or experience anything if it weren't for the charge that the photons from the sun bring us. So that is part of what makes up our reality. So if we can ride the shifts when they come, then we can affect it a lot more. For instance, a couple years ago, when I was first raw foodist, I was kind of in the fearful raw stage. I think a lot of people go through it, where my body was so sensitive, and some of this was physical, but I actually think most of it was emotional, mental, and then I manifested it physically. But if I didn't eat something that was raw, or if I was at someone's house and they gave me food that wasn't what I normally ate, my body reacted horribly, and I felt all this crazy guilt, and I was definitely kind of dogmatic about it, which, you know, as soon as you go into dogma, your message is already messed up, because the universe is not a dogmatic universe. It just, the code of it does not work realistically in what's actually going on here. So one night was when I lived in Santa Monica in 2010, and I was popping popcorn because I was really craving some popcorn. So I was popping it on the stove, and I thought, well, this stuff exists. The only way you can eat popcorn, unless it's fresh, the only way you can store it and then eat it, which people would have had to do over the course of history, is by cooking it. So I plugged in with Gaia's consciousness, and I asked her, what's the deal with cooking? And she said, this is what it is. It's not necessarily that it's good or bad. Granted, if you want to live the most vibrant, healthy, crazy, insane, DNA-activated life, it's best to eat most, if not all, raw foods. But that's given the parameters where we are now, where that stuff is available. And there is a purpose to cooking food, because when you're dealing with raw food, you can tap in with the energy and the consciousness of the food and request that it do stuff for you and kind of align yourself with the geometry of the energy of the food. But when you cook food, you're actually changing the molecular structure of the food. So when you're putting your intentions in, as you're heating it and changing the molecules and cooking it, then your intentions are really going in there, like a witch's brew that you've seen in the movies. You know, that's how they're doing it. They're heating the stuff up that's already magical, charging it before they put it in. And you can do this when you make any food. You can do this when you make mac and cheese. It doesn't really matter. Take the food, charge it up, put it in the pot, and then while it's cooking, you send in your intentions with the knowledge that the molecular structure is changing anyway, so aligning it with what you want to happen. Okay, so that's how the polar shift happens. When it collapses in, which it's doing right now, you set your intention, and then when it expands again, it will carry the energy of your intention. So it'll be on a track that's much more, because you don't have to hold that intention anymore. You've already set it. It's already going for you. So what if you see this video a couple of weeks down the line or whatever? It'll still happen because energy is non-local. So I'm bringing it to you whenever you see it. You might see it today, you might see it tomorrow. It doesn't really matter. You can still jump on it then, because what happens right before the poles actually shift, and like I said, I don't think it's all in one moment. I think it happens over time. But that ripple effect gets faster of that skirt that the sun puts out. It gets faster, so the ripples move up and down more and more and more quickly, and that's why things feel so crazy right now. One of the many reasons. There are more. But that should explain some of what's going on, some of what's happening. And also make sure you really set your intentions, because we just had a new moon. Now it's a perfect time because the moon's energy is waxing. It's bringing energy in. It's going to bring you stuff, like it or not. It might as well bring you something that you want. And also right before this polar shift on the sun happens, it's time to imbue that energy with your intention with things that you would like as well. Anyway, that's all I have for you today. Go in peace, and I will talk to you again very soon.